The South African Students' Congress has condemned the violence at the University of Fort Hare in the Eastern Cape. Sasco Deputy President Paseka Molete believes that the violence is a product of systemic and structural failures by the university. The institution has suspended all academic activities after 2 students were injured and 2 buildings were torched during protests. 8 people have been arrested for public violence and burglary.
This, you must just be honest as a country and say that this is as a result of people not doing their jobs. If everyone was doing their job without being requested to do it, without being demanded to do it, we would not be here. If student issues were attended to on time, those who are responsible to resolve them on time, would not be here. Students will not be marching, students will not be closing down the campus. But the closure of campuses is of a result of frustration, deep frustrations by where students can say, we can no longer breathe, but the only way that we know is to march and perhaps call the attention of the management to come down. But rather, when you come down with arrogance, you come down without listening. It's either your way or the hard way. There is no any student leader or student who can bend their own buildings that they know that they need in the next coming future for themselves and the future generation. We can't do that. But we have people who will take criminals within our university systems and college systems that will take advantage and ban, because people will say to our students, how would you ban your own place that you need, desperately need? You need its upgrade, you need its development, you need more of it, but there's no student who can go in and ban. It's like someone banning their own home, but at the end of the day, they expect to have a bed in it.
Now, for more, we are joined by Moses Nkambako, who is the president of the South African Union of Students. A very good evening to you, Moses, and thank you so much for joining us. I believe you are on campus right now. If you could just give us an update of the situation.
Good evening, Masa, and good evening to your viewers at home. Yes, I'm currently at Ellis campus in the University of Fort Hare. The situation is quite bad. There is heavy police presence. The security companies that are present. There is also institutional security that is also present. Apparently, they were given a directive to start evicting students out of the residences and take them outside the university premises. Our worry now is that some of the students, they do not have money to go home. And some of them, they did not even plan that such thing was going to happen to them. And we had a meeting with the students. We also had a meeting with the political organizations that have decided to unify in an attempt to try and resolve the issues that they're currently facing. They've reached out to management. They've reached out to the Department of Higher Education and Training. They've also reached out to us as the South African Union of Students, who we have also been writing to the institutional management, but they've been meeting us with arrogance. The scenes that are currently they are quite painful, because you can see that there are students with their luggages and their bags that are leaving the institution with fear as they are being frightened by wardens inside their residences, and even by security managers that are inside both campuses, which is East London and Ellis Park. Some of them have not even had something to eat as a result of not being able to cook inside of their residences. So they are hungry as we are speaking right now.
Was there a meeting, Moses, between the campus management and students before this decision was taken to suspend all operations and to tell students to leave by 5 o'clock? And if so, where to?
There was no meeting based on the information that I've gathered from the meeting that I'm coming out of now. There was no meeting that was held between the student leaders, students, and including the management. However, the university decided to suspend and dissolve the SRC that was voted in by students. And then afterwards, it then informed students and all political organizations that it was going to put in an interim SRC that was going to be appointed by them using a document that has been drafted by council without the involvement of students. So that's where this entire thing started. The arrogance of the Vice-Chancellor, which we saw on videos that were being sent left, right, and center by students when they were trying to go and submit a memorandum to the office of the Vice-Chancellor, where he blatantly rejected the memorandum that was coming by students, and also ignored them and resulted into threatening one of the SRC members who was serving under the portfolio of academics, where he told his bodyguards that they must take the student, manhandle the student, and bring the student to him. There is a video that was circulating, and there are videos that we have, and we are well aware that there was no meeting that was held between the SRC's students, including the management, because there is no SRC currently in UFH. Students are leading themselves.
Now, there's been big talk about the torching of the buildings as well. We heard before we started talking, Sasco saying it wasn't the students. We've heard the students on the ground while protesting saying it wasn't them who burnt the building. But then we've also heard from others on the other side saying that it was the students who torched those properties. You've called for an independent investigation into who's torched these buildings. Do you have any idea what could have sparked this?
Based on the videos that we have received and based on the conversation that I just had with the political organizations inside UFH, there was a video that was sent to us where we saw I do not know, a firebomb that was shot by the security companies, which went up, and then when it comes down, there is fire that sparks. Just so they can be able to scare off students. And we then became fully convinced that it's not students that were involved in torching the buildings. And we were also told about another incident that happened inside a UFH, where we had a walkabout with the students, where they took me to one of the residences of the institution. And when we went to that res, there is about 3 rooms that were burnt down, where students were not even inside of those rooms, and they were telling us that it is as a result of the faulty in the systems that they have within the institution. However, they have called for an investigation into all of those residences so that they can check if there are any other residences that are going to be affected by this fire that just started out of nowhere inside the residence space. There is no student that would want to burn a residence space or even want to burn an admin building that has all the records of all students inside the institution. And even if there is that one person or one student who will come blazing and say that they want to go and ban an institution, other students would want to stop that student because they are well aware that their records are kept in that admin building, their degrees are kept in that admin building. So why would they want to go and torch something that has the history and the information that is surrounding the institution? So it doesn't make sense. And we are well aware that before, the institution has allegedly been reported to be involved in corruption scandals that are revolving around construction, as we also discussed one of these points. So there is a high possibility that it's people who wanted to receive contracts so that they can be able to come inside the institution and start making money out of the university. So there are so many possibilities that might have happened, which led to the torching of the building inside the institution. But we are calling for an investigation to be instituted, and those who are found to be guilty must be brought to books.
You're calling for a number of things as well. If you could just also list some of the other things that you have called for.
What we are calling for as the union, based on the submissions that have been made to us by the SRC, we are calling for the SRC management to ensure that SRC elections are held before the end of the month, so that students are going to be able to table which leadership do they want to have them serve them and champion their interest within the institution. And what we are also calling for, we are calling for the Department of Higher Education in its address tomorrow to ensure that it does something that pertains to holding the Vice-Chancellor and the management of the institution to account for all the maladministration that is currently happening within the institution. We were made aware that there is over 19 posts inside the institution whereby there are people who are acting, and some of them they are not filled. We are speaking from your Dean of Students Affairs, we are speaking about your Student Development Officer, Disability Unit Manager, Maintenance Manager, Sport Department Manager, Finance Manager, Transport Manager, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Teaching and Learning. All of those posts, they have people who are interim, including the Chairperson of Council. It's someone that is interim that is acting there. So we are calling for the department to take firm and strict measures towards ensuring that we bring the institution into stability. And based on the submission that has been made to us as the South African Union of Students, students have clearly stated to us that they are not going anywhere, they will remain inside the institution, and that the court proceeding, they will begin at 8, the interdict that they filed against evicting students out of residences. And that outcome will then guide as to the way forward that they are going to take as student leaders and including as students. They've also told us that there will not be any stability within the institution if the Vice-Chancellor continues to be the Vice-Chancellor of the institution. They are calling for the institution to either be put under administration or the Vice-Chancellor steps down as the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Fort Hare with immediate effect. After those measures have been taken, only then they're going to be able to go back to classes and start having discussions with the new management that is going to be instilled in the universities. And within 8 months, they are calling for all the posts that are not vacant to ensure that there are people that are going to be hired, and there are people and their staff that are going to then be given those positions and in permanent basis or in contractual basis.
Moses, what would you say to viewers who say, look, why don't you go back to the business of being students and go back to the lecture rooms and let management sort this stuff out? What would you say to those people?
The processes of the institution, more especially the statute, in some of the meetings that are supposed to be held, in the different structures within the university, we are speaking your council, we are speaking your institutional forum, we are speaking about your senior appointments committees, including your senate. It requires student leadership to form part and parcel so that they can be able to represent the voices of students. In all 26 universities, there must be something that must be for students that is going to be without students being involved in taking those decisions. Currently, there are fee structures that are being discussed across all universities. We want SRCs to form part and parcel of those discussions so that tomorrow we will know that everyone is held accountable with each and everything that is happening within the institution or the governance of the institution. So to exclude students in those discussions, it makes it impossible for them to have their needs catered for. We need to remember that students, they are representing a larger stakeholder within the institution. Therefore, their voices as well, they do matter for them to participate in all the meetings that are happening. With Fort Hare, there is no SRC that is partaking in meetings currently. There is no one that's representing the student body across all committees, but it's only the university management that is taking unpopular decisions that are going to harm students at the end of the day. We also need to remember the people who are taking those decisions are people who are sitting comfortably within their homes with their kids attending private schools, receiving the best of the best educations, and they have a plan for them. These institutions have students who are coming from poor backgrounds, who have been previously disadvantaged in one too many ways. So excluding them again from taking part into discussions that are going to be able to have them discuss the backgrounds that are coming from and how they could afford, if there is any way that they could afford to be on an institution, will disadvantage them. Therefore, they need to partake in all discussions that are happening in the sector so that they could have their voices heard and have their resolutions also taken down and noted and implemented within the university spaces.
Moses, thank you for your time. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have this evening for that conversation. That, of course, was Moses Nkambako, who is the president of the South African Union of Students.